Hi, I'm Steve.
And I'm Alison.
We decided a couple of years ago that we'd work hard and save all of our money and start living life on our own terms.
So we bought a caravan and hit the road on a trip for two all around Australia.
So why not come and join us every week for our adventures? We left Winton this morning and we come down to Longreach and we're staying at the Apex Park, aren't we, Al?
We are staying at the Apex Park and we stayed here, was it August last year?
Yeah, it was about 12 months ago since we've been here. If you missed that episode, it was a really good one. It was all about the Stockman's Hall of Fame. So I'll drop in a link for it either here or you'll find it in the description below. Depends on whether I can work out the technology or not. But that was a good one to watch, particularly if you're interested in the Stockman Hall of Fame. We're not going to show you too much around Longreach this time because it's shown in that episode, but we are going to visit the Qantas Founders Museum this time, aren't we?
We are going to do that. We said we would come back and do it at some point.
Yeah,
so looking forward to going out to Qantas and having a look at the planes.
Yeah, definitely, we're really looking forward to that. So what I'll do is I'll give you a quick look around at the campsite that we've got. The only reason we're not filming it outside at the moment is the wind is absolutely howling. It's to blow off your feet when you go outside. So
I think the winds are a little bit early. It's supposed to be August in Queensland.
For sure, she's definitely got windy. And the other thing is, just like it was in Winton, the rat plague continues. So there's more bush rats down here.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of discussion online in the travelling community about outback Queensland and what's happening in terms of pests, in particular rats. And some people have certainly been affected and others not. So I think it's good to be aware of what's happening.
Yes.
When you're out west, doesn't matter where you are in Australia, they certainly have their different lots of plagues and infestations.
Definitely. This particular one, you can take some very simple steps to try and protect yourself. We leave the bonnet up on the car overnight. It allows the engine to cool right down. It doesn't give them that sense that they need to go to somewhere warm, because when they go somewhere warm, they start gnawing on all of your electrical cables. And we have heard of a few people who've had that happen to them. The other thing you can do is you can leave some lights on. Apparently they don't like the light too much, so I generally just hang a little light bulb underneath my hood of a night just to keep the area illuminated under there.
Yeah, I saw someone said they put the the motion detector lights under their cars and under their vans. It sets it off. So.
Yeah. So it's certainly some things you can do. Some people say that mothballs don't work, but personally I cannot stand the smell of them. So transporting them from one spot to the other would just drive me mental, so I couldn't do that. But just simple things like making sure you clean up, close your grey water tank off, because if you've got any little bits of food that have come down through your sink, that's certainly going to start to pool underneath your caravan or at the end of your grey water hose. And that could attract them. Any rubbish, that sort of stuff, pack it up. And we pack all of our things away, because one of the other things we read is people have had their thongs gnawed up during the night, so we pack all that sort of gear away. But some simple precautions. And
cooked outside, make sure you clean it up. Don't typical of any advice, even if you're at home, just clean up after yourself and reduce the risk, I guess.
Just adding to that, we lock our Weber away every single time after we use it into the toolbox on the front of our caravan. But we do see a lot out here, and with the rat plague at the moment, they certainly have to be coming in and crawling over the top of your barbecue when you're asleep at night. So I'd suggest strongly that you pack that away as soon as it's cooled and you finish using it. But anyway, we'll give you a look around, then we're going to take you out to the Qantas Founders Museum. We really hope you enjoy Longreach.
Definitely.
So here's our site in Longreach. We're staying at the Apex Park. Ellen and I have set up in the overflow section. We prefer it over the normal part of the campground because people aren't jammed in here like sardines. When we stayed here last year, there was no fee. It was actually a donation camp, but now there is a fee. $10 per night or $40 a week, all payable at the information centre. But it's a great little stay if you're coming in to visit Longreach and all its attractions. One thing about when you come and stay here at the Longreach Apex Park, this is just up in the section that's closest to the river. It's an absolute dust bowl when the wind starts to blow. You might be able to see it in the GoPro, but yeah, just clouds of dust and tumbleweeds rolling through at the moment. It's quite depressing, in fact.
It's a very windy day. More traffic hazards.
Well, good morning. We're heading into Longreach Township today, aren't we?
We are going to Longreach, into Longreach.
We're going to visit the Qantas Founders Museum. So it's broken into two parts, the tour. We done the first part of it last night, didn't we? What did you think of that, Al?
I thought it was quite good. It was the history of Qantas, and they projected up onto the plane, and it was quite well done.
Yeah, we bought, I suppose I should explain, we bought the business class ticket, so they cost $99 for an adult. Because I have a seniors card, I was only $89, so we saved $10. But you get the night illumination show, and you get to pick what night you want to do this on, so you're not restricted to, say, doing it all on the same day. So we went and done the light show last night, and I'll drop in some pictures of that. And then today we're going to do the full tour. So today it's like an hour and a half tour around Qantas.
Yes, it is. Yes, sorry. It's an hour and a half guided tour, and then I think we get to go into the Founders Museum after that and do a self-guided tour.
Yeah. One thing I didn't know about it though is this isn't owned by Qantas. The only thing that Qantas share here is the same history as the Founders Museum, and Qantas did donate the planes that are in there, but other than that, Qantas has nothing to do with this.
No, they just have a working relationship, but
Yeah.
they do make identify that they're not associated or relate in terms of a company agreement with Qantas, the company.
That's
so
right.
if you have any beefs with Qantas, take it up with Qantas.
Yeah, not these guys. You made that clear last night. So.
I think you must get a few. They must get a few comments.
All right, well, we'll take in show as much as we can. We couldn't film it all last night. They don't allow you to film their show when it's going on, but they did allow a couple of photos. But you get so tied up in the show. I tell you, if you only come here to do that night show, $25 a head, well worth half an hour of your time.
It was good, yes.
It was. All right, let's get in there. So our tour today kicks off at the Qantas Founders Museum. It's a great place to come and visit if you're in Longreach. If you're not doing the tour of the planes, you can come in and have a look around the museum for free. There's also a great coffee shop where you might grab yourself a cup of coffee and something to eat after you've had a bit of a look around. But we walked around the museum. There's lots of history here of what built Qantas over the last 100 years or so. Here's an example of the very first aircraft that they ever flew. And here's what first class looked like in the 1950s. But it's very hands-on, lots of simulators for you to get out and try and have a bit of fun, particularly for the kids. One of the great things you can do when you come to the Founders Museum is they've got some aircraft simulators here. There's an older one that's here that's out of action today. This is a more modern one. But yeah, it's a fantastic simulation. Do you want to jump in and have a go, Al?
No thanks, I'm fine. I've already got one pilot in the family. That's enough for us.
Hey Kerry, how are you, mate? Here's a few of the Qantas cabin crew uniforms over the years. I've got to say, and I'm not being biased here, I worked for Virgin for a little while, and I'm sure that the Virgin cabin crew's uniforms were far better than the Qantas ones. This is the original Ford Ranger. It's amazing that in 94 years technology hasn't advanced too much further forward. It even comes with the standard Ford oil leak. Check that out. After checking out the museum, our guided tour started in the old hangar with a tour guide. Absolutely fantastic. And then we moved over to the main yard to check out the aircraft that are on display. It is important to note that not all of these planes were owned by Qantas, but they've now been donated here in Longreach, and they've been done up to look like one of the old Qantas planes of the time. This plane here was particularly interesting. It had been owned by a company in the Middle East who done it up to try and sell it as a showpiece for business class or first class type travel, which wasn't really well received, but it was used by people like Michael Jackson and other pop type stars of the era. The other things that were fascinating was just some of the old stairs and things that they used to put on the aircraft. A bit of a look around a few cockpits and some planes. I'd never be able to work that out. I don't know how my brother-in-law ever does. And here is the big dog, the 747, great aircraft. In fact, I think this is the one that they refer to as the plane that opened up the world. But nevertheless, it's a great tour to do if you're in Longreach.
This was unexpected at our camp in Longreach. Alison is working, that was expected. But 2 brolgas shading themselves under the tree outside, definitely not expected. They're great. I'll pop out and get some footage and I'll throw it in. I'll get as close as I can get without getting attacked here.
Well, we've left our site on the Thompson River out at Longreach. What did you think of it in the end, Al?
Yeah, no, it's a good overnight stay or a couple of nights stay. It was good.
Yeah, just be cautious when you go out there with the rats, but we never had any significant problems. So, yeah, it's just something to keep in mind when you go out. But on to bigger and better things. Today we're on our way to, well, we don't know exactly where we're going to end up, probably Jericho or something. We think there's a nice free camp out that way. But we're going to stop at a town called Invercargill on our way through this morning. We went come through it last year, but we never stopped. But this year we want to stop and have a bit of a look around, don't we?
Yes, we do.
All right, so we'll head into Invercargill. We'll give you a bit of a look around there and see what there is to see. Not too far after you've left Longreach, you'll come to the township of Invercargill, which is famous for its machinery mile. Don't worry, you won't miss it. It lines the entire street, and this museum is at least a mile long, at least that long. But it's full of old knickknacks and dinosaur bones and machinery and mining equipment and all of those things of yesteryear, which were used to build the nation or the West as we know it today. Absolutely fascinating. One of the things that I quite enjoyed as we went past is this old lathe. I'm sure this is the one that my father used to stand at for hours and hours and hours and cut steel because he's a fitter and turner by trade. But one of the things that you'll really enjoy about Invercargill is you can see as much or as little as you want to see or what interests you, but it is a great place to stop, stretch your legs, maybe grab a cup of coffee while you're in town and just have a look around. I was just saying to Alison that we walked into this house here, I reckon it's probably 100 years old or so. Al, what do you reckon? Somewhere around there?
I believe so, yes.
Just wondering, like, will they have a house like the ones that we live in today in 100 years in a town, just outside of a town somewhere, and people will wander through it just like we are right now and think to ourselves, how did they ever bloody live like that? It's very, very, very interesting, but I'm sure it'll happen. We just won't be here to find out. Geez, I haven't seen one of these in a lot of years. I just noticed as I was walking back to the car, we used to call them a copper because the police used to stand on them to direct traffic once. Well, that was Machinery Mile in Invercargill. God, I always forget the name of the towns that are in. That was Machinery Mile in Invercargill. What did you think about it, Al?
Actually, it was quite good. Once you got out and started like walking around and reading things and having a closer look, you found that you were really slowing down and taking your time and having a good look at all the items that they've collected over the years that have been donated. It's quite fascinating.
It was really fascinating. In fact, and I thought exactly what Alison just said. I thought it is a pile of junk on the side of the road. We'll get out and have a bit of a look around. But it really draws you in, and it's well worth stopping and checking out. I was particularly interested in the difference that you see between yesterday and today. So most of the gear that you see there was made somewhere between the 20s and the 70s. But the one thing that it all had in common, it was made predominantly here in Australia, or it was made in the UK or in America, but I didn't see any other countries that manufacture there.
No.
But it was all like, it stood the test of it of time. It was brilliant machinery, wasn't it?
It is. I think, to be honest, you could probably still use a lot of them. They might need a little bit of tweaking, but I don't think it'd take a lot.
And the other thing that we noticed here, when we were in Min Min at the old pub the other day, we noticed a lot of purple glass on the ground, and we couldn't work out what it was, but we did find some with little bits of writing on it.
Yes.
And today we looked in their glass case, and here are all these condiment bottles, predominantly tomato sauce. So we reckon, based on it being an old pub out there at Min Min, and all of the purple glass laying on the ground, we reckon we found all the old tomato sauce bottles out there, which was interesting to learn.
It is. We've solved a problem, I think.
All right, well, on tomato sauce, that's probably a good way to end today's episode. We really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like. If you've got any questions or comments, hit us up in the comments section, because we love to see you and read your feedback. And obviously, we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can. And finally, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please consider doing so, because it really allows our channel to grow. So until next Saturday at 9 o'clock, we hope you have a fantastic week. We can't wait to see you. We'll see you then.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.